students, you young men think about sex as often as once every 4 minutes. And you women as often as once every 10 minutes. So I'm one speaker who's going to encourage you to let your minds wander. My title is the Sex Minister. That's right, sex and minister in the same title. So how can that be? I started out in the Lutheran tradition. I actually worked as an assistant to the bishop for several years and was a mission developer and then became an ordained interfaith minister. And I believe sex is good. And good sex is a gift. Now, I didn't always feel that way. When I was in second grade, I became a statistic. I became 1 in 3 girls, much like the 1 in 6 boys, who will be sexually abused at some point during their life. That experience taught me that the only way that anyone would be interested in me was if they had access to me sexually. But I was also raised with a really strong marriage ethic. And that said, if you were married, sex was okay. But if you weren't, sex was wrong, for any reason and any circumstance. So those mixed messages caused me to make some really devastating choices in my life. My problem wasn't that I had sex with a lot of people. My problem was that I felt compelled to marry anyone I had sex with. You can probably imagine what came next. I was married at 18 years old to somebody who was physically abusive. I was divorced and remarried at 21 years old to somebody who was emotionally abusive. My third husband, that's right, 3, would take it out on my kids if he didn't get what he wanted. I'm living proof that you can really heal from that kind of abuse. And I am now engaged. Moving slowly for number 4. My boyfriend and I have been together for almost 7 years. We are not married, and we are having sex. And it's good sex. It's good because it honors a sexual ethic that includes things like mutual consent and shared responsibility and the desire to receive and to give pleasure. I want to talk to you because if you're having sex, I want it to be the best, healthiest sex it can be. And if you're not having sex, then when you do, I want it to be the best, healthiest sex it can be when the time is right. Now, I have 2 boys. Jackson is 22 years old now, and Alex is 20. When Alex was in elementary school, we sat down together to watch a movie. It wasn't the movie he chose. It had some adult content. So I tried to explain to him why we watch some movies and not others. He looked at me and said, "Yeah, but when you're an adult, you can watch anything." I said, "Well, honey, even when you're an adult, there's some things you don't want to watch." He got a really serious expression. He pursed his lips and he said, "Yeah, like golf." He was right. My apologies to any golf enthusiasts. Ultimately, how we feel about golf or sex has everything to do with what our culture tells us to think. So let me give you an example. Back in the 1970s, I know that's kind of prehistoric time for most of you, but I was actually alive back then. There were some anthropological studies. They found people who were living in parts of the world that they'd never known existed before. One of those groups was people of Innis Bay. They lived on an isolated island that was off the coast of Ireland. These people were found to be the most sexually naive people in the world. They never talked about sex. Men and women considered sexual intercourse a necessary evil that had to be endured for the sake of reproduction. Men believed that sex would destroy their health, and female orgasm was considered a sign of demon possession. Nudity was forbidden even with children, and there was a practice of whipping dogs if they were caught licking their own genitals. Now compare that to the people of Mangia. The Mangians lived on Cook Island in the South Pacific, and they were found to be one of the most sex-positive cultures in the world. They enjoyed sex in all different varieties. In fact, they believed sex should come first, before affection or any kind of relationship. They believed that adolescent sex should be encouraged. And they didn't do anything like kiss or date. The outcome was just always sex. There was a special emphasis on female pleasure and multiple orgasms. The average young man would have 3 orgasms a night, 7 nights a week, and would strive for his partner to have 2 to 3 orgasms for every one of his. I'm not sure which culture you're more shocked about. But both of them are very extreme. We see them as extreme because those societies don't teach what our society has taught us. So, what has our society taught us? I asked you that question, and these are some of the answers you gave me. It's an entertaining release of stress, the only way to have a kid. Drinking beer will make women want me. Abstinence only, or you're going to hell. That's not always great. It can be smelly. And this one broke my heart. Sexually experienced unmarried women are like opened cans of soda, meant for the trash can only. Wow. So what does this say about our society when it comes to sex? It says that we are really screwed up. 1 minute, we are treating sex like it's something sinful and shameful, that we need to feel bad for our own perfectly natural impulses and desires. And the next minute, it's treating sex like an advertising scheme. It's trivializing it. And it's turning people into objects. We aren't objects. So, I want you to do an exercise for me. I need to teach you a couple of words first that come from the South African tradition. The first one is sawubona. Can you all say that? Sawubona. Sawubona. Perfect. All right. The second one is sikona. One more time. Sikona. Okay. Now, these words are used in greeting. And the first one, sawubona, means I see you. The second one, sikona, means that I am here. The intent is that when you recognize and see me for the human being, the valuable, beautiful person I am, then I exist in your world. So I want you to all stand up. Stand up and pair off with somebody. And I want you to put your right finger under your right eye and look in your partner's right eye. Yep, because you can't look at both eyes at the same time. So just look at their right eye. And whichever one of you is tallest, do you not have a partner? Come on up here. Oh, okay. All right. We need another partner. Is there anyone else without a partner? Come on up here and join me. All right. Now, whichever one of you is tallest, I want you to look into the other person's eye and say, sawubona. And now the shorter one replied with sikona. Now the shorter person say, I see you. And the taller one say, then I am here. Thank you very much. I have a book for you afterward, okay? Now, we are not objects, all right? We are full human beings, body, mind, and spirit. We're spiritual and we're sexual. Sometimes we need to be reminded of that so that we can appreciate our own value. and we can respect other people the way they need to be respected. When my son Alex was 14 years old, I inadvertently walked in on him while he was watching golf. Not really, it wasn't that bad, it was porn. Believe me, it's just as embarrassing for your mom and dad as it is for you. The average age of exposure to internet pornography now is 11 years old, moving down to 10. We're inundated with sexual messages without being given the tools we need to navigate our sexual lives when the time is right. I became the sex minister because our society is polarized between sex as sin on one hand and sex as sport on the other. My goal is to help you find that middle ground where you can celebrate your sexuality and treat it with moral integrity. A place I call Sextegrity. Namaste.